Hello everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about quantifiers. On the one hand, we're going to talk about big quantities using quantifiers like much, many, or a lot of. And on the other hand, we're going to talk about small quantities using quantifiers like little or few. Okay. Now remember, if you like these videos, just subscribe, please, okay? Or just leave a comment down below. Okay, now let's have a look at those quantifiers. So let's begin with much and many. Now, both much and many express a big quantity, a big amount, okay? The difference is that we use much with only singular nouns. So what is a noun that is only singular? Well, basically this means that it does not have a plural form. For example, money. Money only exists in singular. It does not have a plural form. Monies does not exist, right? And that is why we use much money, okay? On the other hand, we use many with plural nouns, okay? Now, furthermore, much and many, both of them, are only used in negative and interrogative sentences. We don't use them in an affirmative sentence, okay? Let's have a look now at some examples. First one. There weren't many people at the party. So you see, people is a plural noun, okay? And that's why we use many. Furthermore, you also see that the sentence is negative, okay? Another example, they didn't give us much information. So information is a word that is only singular. And that's why we use much, okay? Much information. And again, you see the sentence is negative, okay? Now, let's have a look at a couple of examples in a question. First one, how many chairs do you need? So you see, obviously, this is a question, okay? And furthermore, chairs is a plural noun. So we use many chairs, right? Good. Second example. How much money have you got? So again, you see money is an only singular noun, and that's why we use much. How much money? Okay. Furthermore, we use it in an interrogative construction. Okay. Now, one little observation. You will see that a lot of people explain the difference between much and many as the difference between uncountable and countable. Now, for the most part, this is true. However, there are some uncountable nouns that are a plural form, okay? For example, the word police. Now, police is a plural noun, and that's why we use many police, okay? Now, let's talk about the quantifier a lot of. When you use this quantifier a lot of, then again, you express a big quantity, a big amount, okay? But this time it is a lot easier. You can use a lot of with only singular nouns and with plural nouns. It's always correct. You can use a lot of with both, okay? And again, you can use a lot of in affirmative, negative, and interrogative sentences as well, okay? Again, it is always correct. Okay, so you see, using a lot of is a lot easier. For example, I have a lot of friends at university. So in this case, I want to express a big quantity using a lot of, right? And I use it with a plural noun, friends, in an affirmative sentence. And that's perfectly all right, okay? Another example. We don't see a lot of migrating birds any longer. Now, again, I want to express a big quantity, but now in a negative sentence, again followed by a plural noun. And again, it's perfectly all right, okay? Now, last example. Has your dad given you a lot of advice? So you see here, again, I want to express that big quantity, but now in a question, followed in this case by an only singular noun. And again, it's perfectly all right, okay? Now, we can also substitute this quantifier a lot of by more informal expressions, okay? And these expressions, for example, tons of, lots of, or loads of, do not change the meaning. Okay, so if we go back to our examples, then you'll see we can just substitute a lot of by these expressions in a more informal way. For example, I have tons of friends at university. So you see we have substituted a lot of by tons of, and we have a more informal sentence. Okay. Second example, we don't see lots of migrating birds any longer. Okay, so in this case, we have substituted a lot of by lots of, and again, there is no difference in meaning, it's just a bit more informal. Okay, last example, has your dad given you loads of advice? Okay, so in this sentence, we have substituted a lot of by loads of, and again, the meaning is the same, but it's just a bit more informal, okay? Now, second observation. We can also use the expression a lot. So we don't use of here at the end of the expression, we just use the expression a lot. And this means that although we again express a big quantity, it is not followed by a noun. There is no following noun, okay? And this means either that the noun has been repeated or it is obvious what we are talking about, okay? For example, I've eaten a lot. Okay, so you see we use the expression a lot without of because there is no following noun. And although we express that big quantity again, it is obvious what we are talking about. We're obviously talking about food, so it's not necessary to add that noun. So we omit the word of. I've eaten a lot. Okay. Another example, I don't have any book on that topic, but Jimmy has a lot. So in this case, again, we use a lot without of because there is no following noun. And in this case, it is because it is obvious what we are talking about because it's being repeated. Okay? So we are obviously talking about books, so I don't need to repeat that, okay? And that is how you use a lot without of, okay? And now let's talk about small quantities. So if you want to express a small quantity, then you can use either little or few. Okay, we use little with only singular nouns and we use few with plural nouns. Normally expressing this quantity using little or few, we do so in an affirmative sentence. However, you could also use them in negative and interrogative sentences, although it's more common to do so in an affirmative sentence, okay? For example, there's little hope to find the lost cat. So you see, hope is an only singular noun, and that's why we use little, expressing a small quantity. Okay? Another example. He's got little patience when it comes to teaching. So again, we use here the word patience, which is an only singular noun, and that's why we use little. Okay? Now, some examples with few. There were few people at the party. So people is a plural noun, and if we want to express a small quantity, then we use few people. Okay? Another example. He's got an excellent mark because he made few mistakes. So again, we use here mistakes, a plural noun with the quantifier few, expressing a small quantity. Okay? And lastly, let's talk about the quantifiers a little and a few. Okay, now when using these quantifiers a little and a few, you don't express a big quantity, no. But you don't express a small quantity either. No, you express a normal, neutral quantity. Okay? In fact, when you use these quantifiers a little or a few, you could substitute them by the quantifier some, which also expresses a normal quantity, right? Now, if you use a little, then the following noun has to be an only singular noun, okay? And when you use a few, then the following noun has to be in plural, okay? So let's have a look at some examples. First one. I have saved a little money to buy myself a computer. So you see, we use a little followed by an only singular noun, money. Okay. Furthermore, I don't express here a big quantity, no, or a small quantity. No, I'm expressing a normal quantity. In fact, I could substitute a little by some. I have saved a little money, or I have saved some money, okay, to buy myself a computer. Second example, I have a few friends living abroad. Again, here we use a few expressing a normal quantity. It's not a big quantity. It's not a small quantity, okay? In fact, we could substitute it again by the quantifier some. But in this case, a few is followed by a plural noun. I have a few friends living abroad, okay? So, to sum up, we use firstly much to express a big quantity, and it is followed by an only singular noun. You can only use much in negative and interrogative sentences. Secondly, many. Again, we use many to express a big quantity, but in this case, we use it with plural nouns. Again, you can only use it in negative and interrogative. On the other hand, when using a lot of to express a big quantity, then you can use it with only singular nouns and plural nouns, and you can use it in affirmative, negative, and interrogative. Okay. Now, when expressing a small quantity, then you can use little with an only singular noun, and you use few with plural nouns, okay? And you can use few and little in affirmative, negative, and interrogative, okay? And lastly, when using a little or a few, then you express a normal neutral quantity, basically a synonym of the quantifier some. We use a little with only singular nouns, and we use a few with plural nouns. Again, you can use both in affirmative, negative, and interrogative. Okay, so that's it for today. I hope you have learned something, and if so, subscribe. Okay, click the notification bell, leave a comment down below, or just give a simple thumbs up. Okay, so again, thank you for watching. Till next time, bye bye.